Today's episode is brought to you by Crescent Plumbing Supply. Don't go do the big box, no love thing. Do the boutique box with real experts that is also affordable. Whether it's a master bath, kitchen, powder room, or outdoor shower for the kids, Crescent Plumbing Supply can help. 6614 Olive Boulevard, and mention Soccer Dad Pod for your custom discount till the end of the year. Today, Jason Glover joined me for a one-on-one following the second leg of US vs. Jamaica at Energizer Park. We talked about which players impressed, our take on Poch, and other subjects ranging from youth coaching tips to the transfer portal. Jason also gives a little update and opinion on one of his son's best friends and teammates, Mykhi Joyner, fresh off their recent trip to Florida with the US U19s. So let's go.
It's that time. Soccer Dad Pod, back. Today's going to be a fun one. My usual carpool co-hosts living those real-life day job things. They decided to tap out on this one, so I decided to go to the bullpen. So I need a closer.
Oh, I got a chubby, out of shape closer.
Yeah, you strike me more as a Greg Maddux type. Not a lot of heat, but a lot of movement.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Soccer Dad Pod today is, you've already noticed, you read the screen. I've got a friend of the show, friend of the boys. This will be number 4. I think you're racking up
Mileage. Do I get frequent flyer miles?
You're getting close.
I mean, I did get a free beer from you.
You
so
did.
That's good.
We should create Soccer Dad Pod punch cards.
Yeah. I mean, if
Maybe.
4, what do I get like at 5? Do I get like a sandwich?
I'm thinking maybe, sandwich would be good.
Yeah.
You, what do you think? You like the tune, by the way?
Absolutely. This reminds me of swimming at Summer Haven in North County in the summer and eating a roll of Sprees because they just came out and just like doing nothing but swimming all day long.
Sprees were like the kind of the cheap version of Sweet Tarts, right? They were harder. They had that slick coat.
They had the slick coat. I think they were an upgrade. They were like between Sweet Tarts and then Skittles because they were kind of the same.
Yeah. I like Skittles, actually.
I love Skittles.
I haven't had Skittles in probably 30 years, to be honest.
Oh, my gosh. Well, they may have changed the taste. I don't know. They have so many different flavors, but my go-to at the I love gas stations. Do you like gas stations?
In a weird way. It's kind of like Walmart's for me.
Oh, I mean, I do like a Walmart, I guess. In what way do you like Walmart?
I'm a people watcher.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great place.
I know. And I think gas stations, too.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I will exclude Quick Trips. Quick Trips, to me, are almost too efficient.
They're too corporate-y.
Yeah.
But that's why I love them. Like, you can walk into a Quick Trip. Yeah. There's 15 people in line, and you're like, uh-oh. And by the time you go get your soda and you come back, there's one person in line. It's amazing there.
It is freaky fast, almost like Jimmy John's, right?
Yeah.
I think they must have the greatest credit card system in the world.
It's so fast, and the attendants are on their A game. They're not goofing around. They're paying attention. Like, they're there solely to check you in and out.
They get paid well too.
It seems like it.
Like I remember reading an article, like they're kicking that 60, 70 plus to ring out
fast though. You got to be fast.
I love it. Well, we digress. That was, by the way, Major Tom was the song. And I played it today because number one, I knew you two were a kid of the 80s, and I figured you had some childhood memory of
trauma.
But I've been watching this new show. It's on I think it's on Peacock or Prime. Prime. I don't know. I just go to continue watching on my screen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called Deutschland 83.
Oh, I have not heard of that.
Well, I've said this before on the show. Like I do like watching foreign series, foreign movies and stuff.
All right.
Not because I think I'm like some highbrow, I'm going to brush up on my German.
Right.
It's because it forces me to put my phone down because I have to
read it.
I got to read the subtitles.
Yeah.
So it's because I'm not disciplined enough if it's in English because I can multitask.
Yeah. How many people watch Netflix and they're on their phone at the same time? It's got to be 85%.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, it's not Netflix and chill. It's Netflix and scroll.
Yeah, and do something else. And every once in a while, consciously make a decision to watch the TV screen again, and then subconsciously go back to scrolling.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am though kind of running through a lot of show options. So if you're listening, I need show ideas. Ping me on socials, Soccer Dad Pod, any of that. You know what? I'm not going to ask for a like, review, follow, or share today. I'm going to ask for show suggestions or movie.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched movie in a long time either.
Yeah, there's a couple of good scary movies out right now.
Are you into that stuff?
I don't think I am, but I go, I guess, because my kids are into it. And so we're going to go to the movies tonight. I think there's a scary movie out.
Are you gonna make the kids pay? It's $5 Tuesdays.
So
earn their keep.
That would create chaos in our household. It would be terrible if I suggested that they pay their own way to a movie.
Well, a real quick here, because those of us that are adults listening to this, we know we pay our own way specifically when it comes to fixing stuff. So I just real quick want to throw out that thank you to our friends over at Crescent Plumbing Supply. Excuse me. Get the master bath fixed. Get the kitchen upgraded. That little powder room, make it a little more powdery.
Lots of powder.
Powdery. You got that basement bathroom to get your kids out of the first floor. You need stuff. Go to Crescent. Tell them and are huge fans of the Soccer Dad Pod. They're going to give you a discount. And the people there, they know what they're selling. It's not like going to the orange box and walking into the plumbing aisle and having somebody say, "I'm from paint."
Right. And I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let me go get a guy.
What's elongated?
Yeah, I don't even know
Anyway.
that. But if you're in the orange box, you better have a game plan and know exactly what you want and where to go.
Yep. So thank you, Crescent Plumbing Supply, 6614 Olive. Go check it out. Go to the Loop. Get your burger at Blueberry Hill. When you're done, walk it off a couple blocks north and go pick out your new kitchen, man. It's really that simple. I want to get into your name here, points of the day, because soccer is banging right now.
It is. It's everywhere right now.
It's 12 months a year. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. But here in the Lou last night, at the time of this recording, which today's Tuesday, yesterday was Monday, the 18th, City Park hosted our beloved U.S. men's national team.
Now they are.
Right? Yeah. Ooh.
I mean, I'm very
What have
finicky.
you done for me lately?
Yeah, I'm so finicky with them.
Poch's third game, third game.
Yeah, and he's got 2 in a row, so that's good.
Fourth game because he won the first game,
Lost, and now 2
wins.
Yeah.
We had Jamaica at home in this new alphabet off-year cup.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I like that too, though. I love all of it. I love all of the alphabet, CONCACAF, league, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter what it is. I love watching nations play, and it gives you another reason to watch the games. They seem to be adding. Do you recognize all of these new tournaments? Or
No.
Like, they're all new, right? So
Right.
they're just adding on top, and it just gives us another opportunity to watch great players.
Navigating the college pathway is tough, daunting really. From determining what's a good fit, where's a good fit, and what a good fit even looks like, Tony Delafeld and Prospect 2 Player can help. Check out Prospect 2 Player on Twitter or Instagram and see the real-world connections he's made between players and programs from JUCO to D1 and more.
So there's a lot of things loaded into that. The one thing I immediately think of is the players.
Lots of wear and tear.
That's a lot of minutes, man.
A lot of travel too.
And I get it. The game is a business, even at the national team level, and maybe even more so at the national team level, especially if you're about to be the host of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because you need your team to perform. But I mean, there's a lot of games, a lot of chances for injury. I don't know, man. If I'm AC Milan, going into last night, and I see the rain and I see a lot of heavy
nervousness,
hell yeah, I'm nervous. If those guys go down,
it affects the main paycheck.
Yeah, so U.S. men's national team, it was a home and away versus Jamaica, 1-0 win on the road. We talked about it last episode, in which the pitch was more like kind of a North County track,
Loretto.
Yeah, we're right.
In the summer.
Yeah, exactly. But last night was at our beloved City Park. Pitch was in perfect shape, even with the rain, the pouring rain. Not quite a sellout. 22-4 is a sellout. There was 20,800.
2180 or 2080.
Oh, that's right. 21,080.
Yeah, that's what. When he said it, I was like, did he say that right? And then I looked at the attendance number.
Yeah.
But you know what I noticed is they didn't turn on the sprinklers last night during the rain, which was kind of a power move. I guess they figured that we were getting enough rain on the pitch.
It came down pretty good too.
Oh my gosh, there was a point where I was looking at the lights, and it almost looked like it was snowing. It was coming down so fast.
Yeah, it was heavy. Here's the thing I loved about last night's game. Take out all the pomp and circumstance of the environment and vibe and everything that City did right in producing the event for U.S. Soccer, in conjunction with U.S. Soccer. The lineup. We put our horses out there.
Yeah.
And you saw moments of, I won't say brilliance because it's still pretty early in the Poch reign, but I would definitely say inspiring play.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that. I'm going to tell you mine first, then I'm going to ask you, and you can follow up with yours. For me, last night, Jedi was incredible.
Yeah. Do you like his socks low, or do you?
I do.
Yeah.
It's kind of, but I'm a Chelsea fan, right? So I think Cole Palmer and that goofy haircut.
Yeah.
I like the nerd stuff every now and then because it just tells me like, dude, don't care.
Right. He's just out there to ball.
He is a baller. Exactly. Yeah. And I thought his pace nobody really had his pace. He almost seemed to be like, he could read the room. Anytime, a section or a quadrant of the field started to maybe fall apart a little bit, all of a sudden, who's in the middle of it?
Right. He's kind of like, I heard Colin Cowherd say one time that, I can't remember the quarter, maybe it was Peyton Manning. He said Peyton Manning is the deodorant for the league because there's a lot of stinkiness, but Peyton Manning can kind of change, an entire season based on just his performance. And that's kind of what you see. There's a couple of those guys on the national team. Yeah. And I also feel like just the good-natured vibe of the crowd, they were into it. And, and it was good to see the supporter section was loud. It was a good environment. And I like how City kind of transformed the stadium to represent the United States. It didn't feel like you were in somewhere neutral. It didn't feel like the stadium couldn't pull it off. It felt like the City Park, Energizer Park, they actually took the time to make the United States feel like they were at home.
I'm glad you said that because I realized I've been calling it City Park. So it might be one of those things. I'm a little worried
amphitheater,
it'll be Riverport.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
God, I don't. Hey, Energizer or City, if you're listening, for the low dollar fee of $1,000 a month or whatever, we'll make it the Energizer points of the day.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea, bro. I like that.
Plug it in. We'll give you a D battery worth.
Yeah.
Who'd you like? Who stood out to you on the field last night?
Well, I was saying to my wife because we were there, and I said I just feel like Pulisic is the fastest guy on the field. With the ball, without the ball, like he just seemed so good. And I don't know if it was because it was in person and maybe your eyesight is different when it's on TV as opposed to being in person. But the way that he was playing, and it seemed like they were playing for the country, and it didn't seem like they were just out there, collecting a small check compared to their club check.
Yep.
And it seemed like they were playing for the coach. And the way that I look at it, and maybe it's just because my kids all played offense, but if you have a plan in the final third, then I feel like that's a coach that's putting their fingerprint on the final third. And there was a lot of final third transactions where you could tell that they were setting up. And I don't know if I've ever seen that before with a U.S. men's national team, and that was exciting.
Well, I was standing on the south end, and U.S. was heading to the north end.
In your normal spot on the corner?
No, I was standing in the corner waiting for somebody that was running late. So I was,
Did they stand you up?
No. They were just running late. The traffic last night was awful.
It was, because of the Blues game, which I didn't know that the Blues were playing, but I walked by some.
That makes sense.
Like maybe it was Utah. I don't, because they had on Phoenix Coyotes, jerseys. So maybe it was Utah. I don't know.
Huh. Anyway,
but that was, I couldn't believe, I was like, this stadium's going to be rocking, because you couldn't even get into your normal parking spots.
I know.
But it was because there was a hockey game.
I think we parked and walked from like Richmond Heights. It was crazy.
You should have just walked from your house.
I know, man. So anyway, I was standing down the end. I'm watching it, and if you go back, if you watch the first goal, Pulisic's goal, what you really need to watch is McKinney on the right.
Yeah.
The pace at which he was moving.
Yeah.
He was kind of in cruise control, right? He wasn't going full head of steam. Mm-hmm. It was a controlled run. And you saw him and Pulisic catch eyes. And then all of a sudden, Pulisic's like, okay, I'm going into fifth gear now.
Yeah.
And he took off. And standing behind the play, you saw it like all come together in a perfect motion.
Yeah.
And
it's a great shot, too.
Yeah, I was on the line. I could see the direct line to the far post. And it's like, that's one of those special moments that we don't get a lot of those as U.S. soccer fans recently.
Yeah.
And it was like really, it was a good feeling.
And even the goals that were scored against us, I felt like we were still in control.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like it was ever a question that we weren't going to continue to dominate or score again. Because there was a couple of plays where they were just missing each other on a final touch into the back of the net. And I really like Pepe. I love how he plays. And I don't know if I could say that. And again, maybe it's because it was in person, but watching him play in the 9, it just looked right. It looked really good.
Two other players that stood out for me from a pace standpoint as well along those lines. Musa.
Yeah.
Up front, like how quick he was
fast,
on that first touch or getting into the small gaps. It was really impressive.
Yeah.
And then the late sub down the left side.
Oh, Cade Cowell.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
I love everything about that kid.
Yeah.
I love his cheesy mustache,
I know.
the mullet.
He's got the hair. He's got everything going for him.
He comes in and I was talking to my brother-in-law who was standing there watching with me, and I'm like, man, I love this guy. Watch, he's got pace. Literally, first ball to him.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe Tim Ream that pumped it over the top down that left side, and you saw him take off, and he got the first step. But the incredible thing was once he got to the ball, he got faster.
Yeah.
His second, third touch,
he was
picking up speed.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
And you know what's funny too is, so we as a family are aware of certain players.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got subbed in, even my wife goes, oh, didn't he play here against City last year with San Jose? And I was like, look at you getting all
paying attention.
Yeah, like she's read up, like she knows what's going on. And that's what's so much fun is when you are as a family and you're so entangled in the sport and you hear your kids talking about something or even your spouse, and then like that's how much time is spent around this game. And when you see somebody like Cade Cowell who went down to Mexico and left San Jose, went to Mexico and is down there now, and you see him with the national team, and it just makes sense. Like, it's right because he's such a good player.
Yeah.
And there's more of them. Like, they're all getting ready to pop into the scene over the next couple of years. And it's just really exciting to see the growth of the United States men's national team, the players that are now playing for a coach that has a game plan, you can see it. It wasn't just like passing without a purpose. It was like they were actually trying to, work on what his master game plan is, what the team intention is. And that's what I really respect the most, is just watching that game. Maybe it was the opponent, I don't know, but it was also raining and they didn't fall apart. And that has to be part of the messaging that he's, laying down that foundation of this is how we're going to play.
One thing that I really liked about Poch's influence or optics last night too, and I'm going to be interested to see this in games coming up, because I was really kind of cognizant. I would like to believe that we're a little bit of a different kind of fan of the game. We're not just watching the game. Oh, that's pretty fluidity. There was a couple times when there was plays going through into the attacking third, and the final execution wasn't there. And let's be honest. I mean, Jamaica, they're all track stars.
Yeah.
They are massive, big, fast athletes.
Right.
And very quickly, they're going back up the field. And I watched a couple times where the final third, the last touch was a weak touch or a missed pass, and boom, it's coming back the other way, expecting him to hop up like a traditional U.S. coach, yelling and pointing back.
Yeah.
And you know what he did like twice that I remember? He gets up, looks at the individual that made the bad pass. One time it was Musa in particular, looked at him, and he clapped like, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
And gave him thumbs up as the ball is moving full speed towards our goal.
Yeah.
And he was hyper-focused in, let's just address that.
Yeah. That's a great personality trait to have as a head coach.
Oh, my God.
Even like, okay, that's at the highest level, but what about at U8 on a Saturday at Slica, at any given named field? And, do you as a coach do the same thing?
Well, so that was going to be something I wanted to talk about. Maybe I'll just move it up to now, because as that was happening last night, what I just described, kind of looking at Poch and how he reacted to what was in essence a bad play. I was thinking when I knew you were coming in, I was thinking about bumping into you the other day out at Creve Coeur.
Oh, yeah.
And your little dudes are walking past. What are they? 2012s, 20?
No, dude, they're 2016, 17s.
Those are big kids. Are those like farmers?
Nah, maybe, I don't know. If they are, that's good for them.
But anyway, they're walking past, and you're being you. You're like, hey man, good job, good save on that shot, and you're really kind of engaging them. And then watching last night, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you and I both see often, and that is youth coaches. And for all of you youth coaches listening, and I know there's some of you, here's something that I want to point out. When you yell at these kids, when you say, don't make that pass, run faster, tackle harder, like those things.
The things that you shouldn't say to a kid.
Like, please stop. Because at some point, tell the kid, hey, that was a really good try. Maybe next time try this, right?
Yeah.
Because we just watched the $6 million man, Pochettino, who is in charge of our nation's best,
right?
Literally go pro attitude. He was a positive attitude coach. All night long.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that game, I think we lost like 13-1.
Hey, kudos to you, because I saw those kids' faces. They couldn't wait to fist bump you.
Yeah, well,
they weren't sad.
The way that I look at it is, and maybe it's not right or wrong. It's just my own personal opinion. We've talked about how we want to play. These kids are so little that they can only do so much, and they can't execute on everything. They're not perfect. And so when they do come off the field, say for example, a bad play, and you can only give them positive reinforcement, because, anything that pops up could trigger some sort of trauma that maybe they're dealing with. And it could be from school. It could be, other kids that they go to school with, or teammates or parents or whoever.
Yep.
So they make a mistake. They're not unaware. So they know they've made the mistake. Musa knows he made the mistake last night.
Sure.
But as a coach, your job is there to lift them up and then to reinforce the message.
Well, and to that point, even and maybe especially at higher and higher levels, specifically think about in high school soccer, right?
Yeah.
When you have these massive benches, right? Unlimited subbing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because you know what happens. The second a kid makes a mistake, especially if they're an underclassman.
Knee-jerk reaction, pull them out.
Exactly. And,
Yeah.
and I get so frustrated at that. And I understand. I mean, it's a human reaction. But if we're really looking at development and what's best for the kid, that's not good.
No, it's terrible, because if you were as an adult on a project and you say you're working on some CAD design and you forget to enter in something, and then they take you off the project because of that, and they berate you, like, you would file a complaint at HR immediately.
Right.
But we do it with kids and in sports in general, because our number one prized possession is our kids. So if they're on the field competing, not only does your child's trauma come out, but your trauma comes out watching. And as a coach, your trauma of whatever it is that you hold inside comes out, whether it's the insecurity of, do I know what I'm doing and our kids are losing, or is it that we're competing but not to the level of the parents' expectations because I haven't communicated to the parents what the expectations are of these kids that are little. And all of this wraps up into your prized possession is competing and failing, and you can't handle it. And what do? You yell at the other parents, you yell at the other team, you yell at the referee, the other coach, your coach, like all of this to justify in your own mind the trauma that you're dealing with. And it could be anything. It could be your bad week at work and you're at a game, or it could be a family thing. Maybe you have somebody that's sick in your family, and people are exhausted, we're stretched. But you go to these games and you're watching and you go, I don't want to watch another loss. Oh, well, I would rather just watch these kids play because they're healthy and they're running around. And
they have their shin guards on the inside of their socks.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
I mean, I sent you the one picture of my favorite player ever. I love that.
I want to hang out with that. When that kid turns
so do I,
21, I'm partying with him.
I know, like the coolest kid ever. But the hard part is being able to pull back and then saying, because here's what happens. You go to a game and the other parents are yelling and screaming, and then you go, well, at least I'm not doing that. And so you pat yourself on the back and you go, at least I'm not like that, right?
Yeah.
And then, you get in your car and your team wins, and, but then next weekend you could be that parent yelling. And what it does is, if your child notices your behavior, that is a trigger for them. The competitiveness of the game could be triggering you in a way that, like, you're not willing or able to deal with watching your child play. It's very difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we talk about this over and over and over again. And I've kind of not in a defeatist, from a defeatist standpoint, I haven't given up. I just legitimately think that there's a certain characteristic the parents are never going to, they're always going to be loud. And for those that don't understand the game, or maybe just have that aggressive, competitive bone in their body, and they want to project through their kids, they're always going to be there.
But what if I said this? How many people have you said, or how many people have you heard say, my kid's super competitive?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them, right?
Right.
And you know what that really says is that child is dealing with some form of trauma because they can't handle failure. So they're ultra competitive, and then they get upset. Like, you go, well, they're crying after a loss, and you go, why? And they go, well, they're super competitive. And it's like, well, maybe they're not dealing with losing in a way that is constructive. Not that it's terrible for that child to cry, but at the same time, how can you help them get beyond that? because there's another way to handle it. You can lose and learn.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this, the way that you handled Caden early, from a play a lot up, right? He learned to lose.
Yeah, well, I always
And he
say,
learned to get grinded on.
Yeah.
You know?
I say he learned how to have empathy for players that obviously were just happy to be with him. Mm-hmm. And you make a nice pass and the player goes to receive it and it literally goes right underneath their foot and it goes out of bounds. Well, like, you have to have those type of experience. You can't be on the perfect team that wins 18 games in a row and has a goals for of 80-0. And you go, well, we're developing. You go, based on what?
Yeah.
You have to learn to lose early. And if you want to try to make it long term, you have to learn how to handle that as a parent, how to teach it to your child that it's okay to compete and fall short, but at the same time, then building on it. Like, all right, so we lost. Who cares? Like, I told our kids on Saturday, the kids that you saw that were
13-1 drubbing.
Yeah, right. I mean, it was like 3-0 in the first couple of minutes, but to me, like, I'm listening to these kids on the bench.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're talking about, something that's nothing related to soccer.
Roblox.
Maybe. Who knows? But like, they're casually invested in the outcome of the game. But at the same time, like I told the kids, look, this is our team intention. This is what we're working on today. This is like an experiment. If you were in science class and you had two little mixers of chemicals and we match them together, and then, like, what happens? Well, that's what the game is. We're taking what we learned this week in training and we're going to try to put it into action today. And guess what? We're probably going to fail miserably because the team that we played against, they were all gas, no brakes, going to score no matter what.
Yep.
And there was nothing we could do about it. But guess what? When we made the pass that I was looking for, bro, I was on the sideline cheering them on because, like I say, give them another year.
Yeah.
And if we have a chance to play that team again and it's all equal, same teams and all that, we'll be fine.
And there's something to be said about the reality of building that, you use the term empathy, but the kind of the ability to struggle, right? And then when you do hit your stride, when you have the struggle in your resume, because if these kids are going to thrive, if they are going to move up into, I don't care what the alphabet level is, if it's ECNL or MLS Next or whatever it is, they will struggle. They will be ground. They will lose games to teams that are far superior,
or not.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to a city academy game and sometimes you lose to a team and you go, what the heck happened?
We fully aware.
Yeah. Does that trigger for you?
For me, just from a potential standpoint, I'm disappointed in the potential or the lack thereof in a game like that. Now, I've learned to accept the results as really part of the process. The bigger process, specifically at the higher levels, where it's not like your normal league. It is not like even like a high school season. The predictability is not predictable.
Yeah.
Because the talent or the delta. There is a delta, but it's not that big.
Right.
And all these kids, to a degree, they're the same body type. They're the same speed. They can all juggle the ball 2,000 times.
Right.
It's what do they do different? Maybe a total of 30 seconds of a 90-minute game.
Yeah, well, they say like you have the ball maybe 2 minutes out of a game if you combine it all together.
Yep.
So it's not much about the ball.
No.
Like, that's the weirdest thing is if you ever see a techer actually play a game, they're not very good.
No.
Because the game is insight, it's experience, it's soccer intelligence, and some of that just doesn't show up ever when you're juggling or you're doing an individual foot skill. Like, it doesn't matter. You could be the greatest of the whatever pullback, but like if you're not implementing a game principle, it doesn't matter.
No, 1,000%. And you can see it in training.
Yeah.
How many times do you watch, no offense, dad coaches that run these drills that they kind of make up on the fly?
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, I do appreciate
that are like,
yeah. You go, hey, can you explain that to me? And he goes, yeah. Or she goes, yeah. We're gonna have them, and you'll just have to see it. And I go, that's terrible. Like, I can already tell that's a problem.
How do you like it whenever all 18 kids stand at the top of the box and take turns shooting before a game?
Love it.
Whenever there's only 2 of those 18
Yeah.
that are ever actually going to get a shot in the game?
Well, that's who we were playing against. And that's why I was like, I love this, because we're not. And,
Right.
and we still got smoked. So, like, that coach looks like a genius and I look like a dummy.
Give it a couple years.
Yeah, and I go, I literally grab my stuff and I'm walking out, and then I see you. And I think I ran into another family, and I got other things going on. I mean, the game is over.
Yeah.
It's their game, and I'm totally cool with losing like that, because I believe in what we're doing, and I know that it's the right thing, but it doesn't appear at 7 years old. And unfortunately, it makes you look like, you're on the struggle bus, but that's okay. I'm totally fine with that.
Columbia Steamers Soccer Club. What is it? What is the official name again?
Steamers Crew.
Steamers Crew.
Yes, sir.
So if you're interested in having your kiddo be tutored by the dude that is just super chill, hit him up. Hey.
I am chill, but I also have a fire inside. That's a little bit. It's a furnace.
Hey, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna get a refill here. When we come back, we're gonna chat up more soccer, college, beyond, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Black Friday's around the corner, but be sure to skip the chaos, skip the lines, skip all the sales you don't really need, because Prime Monday's right around that corner. Go to Family Arena, check out the St. Louis Ambush and their season opener. Take the kids, take the hubby, take the whole crew, don't take the pets, get your tickets. Family Arena. See ya.
All right, we are back. Soccer Dad Pod, second half. Joined today by friend of the show, friend of the boys, friend of the crew, Jason Glover, as in 4-leaf clover.
That's right. You got it, bro. I'm proud of you, actually. But when I was listening to this intro song, I almost thought it was the same song to your chalet.
To my chalet? What did I do?
The Innsbruck.
Oh, I have a song on there?
Well,
I
it's
did.
like, it's like the I don't know what you call it. But
The bumper music.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought it was.
Very similar. I tend to gravitate towards this little acousticy Midwest.
Yeah. Like this is like a wine bar, and you're drinking and you're just chilling, maybe a fireplace.
Fireplaces.
Like are you wearing a flannel?
I got flannels.
Are you wearing
I'm probably more of a hoodie guy these days.
a hoodie? What about a vest? Like a puffer vest?
I got it, but every time I put it on, I feel like I'm like a commercial, like a cliche.
I
those those little reels
yeah.
where the kids make fun of, my dad's in a vest.
Yeah, type A personality.
But like, I hate to sound old and lame, but like the reason why I like them, I get hot.
I like other people in them. I don't like me in them. I don't know why. I cannot visually see the vest on me and be like, that's a good look. It takes a lot. It's like, but I look at him, but if you wore a puffer vest, I'd be like, bro, that looks good on you.
You know what's funny is I don't wear anything that my wife doesn't buy.
Fair.
And B, I don't get out of the house unless she says,
we're leaving.
that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you ever go and you get fully dressed and then either your kids or your wife goes, Oh, you're gonna wear those shoes?
Well, it's always the shoes because you know me, I've got all the suedes, right? I'm a
Yeah.
Puma suede guy.
Dude, I love your shoe selection.
I got greens, I got blues, I got everything. But the thing is, most of them are kind of like maybe a shade of orange or a shade of red. And if I happen to be wearing like a red hoodie
Oh yeah,
that isn't the same shade as the shoes,
you're in trouble.
she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, it's
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just putting shoes on that were literally right in front of me, and then everybody goes, "Oh, if you wear those, I'm not going with you." I go, "Okay, I guess I'll change then."
So I'm going to add to the request of the day. I'm not going to ask anybody to like, review, follow, or share. I'm going to ask you that if you have an opinion as to whether or not your shoes need to be color coordinated with your hoodie / flannel / puffy vest,
That's called a sandwich.
let us know.
If the jacket color matches the shoe color, it's a sandwich.
Who says that?
I don't know. I think I saw a TikTok on it, and then I think I sent it to my kids, and then I think that they said, "You're an idiot."
Okay, so I believe the last part.
Yes, heavy on the idiot.
Hey, speaking of your kids, I noticed on social media the other day, it was last weekend, I believe, not your alma mater, but your backyard school, your kids' school / alma mater.
Yeah.
Columbia High School made its way up north, made it to the state,
Yeah, semifinals.
Finals,
Yeah. Yeah, they did good.
got bounced out, ended up coming home with the fourth.
Yeah,
But I noticed that Caden, his brother, and everybody went up there.
they sure did. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, because obviously he's in an elevated world where high school is never in his cards, and we often debate high school versus club, the experience, etc. For the majority of kids that play academy soccer.
Yeah.
What was your take on him going and reading him as far as like what that experience meant,
Yeah.
to the boys, to his friends, etc.
Well, a lot of those kids he played growing up with. So, at some point, either played against or played with or whatever. So, a majority of the senior class, they're all, friends. The senior class at Columbia High School is absolutely incredible. It's a large pod of just friends. And so the student section at volleyball, the student section at soccer, now it's going into basketball, football. It's made up a majority of the seniors, and they've all been friends since kindergarten. And so then we have a Catholic school in town, ICS. So then when, 8th grade, all of the Catholic kids came in.
They all come over.
And they like seamlessly integrated, and it's amazing to see it. And so when, the school was doing really well and they're traveling and they go to Chicago, and, the whole experience is perfect.
Did they all carpool? Was it like a
Yeah, it was
caravan?
like a caravan, yeah. And then they all get in the same hotel, and, like they did karaoke, I think, on one of the nights. And so that's the high school experience that we didn't want Caden to miss out on, which is why he still goes to school, on campus. And it's important because from the perspective of his friends, they think he's Caden. Like, they don't think of him outside. They think it's cool what he does, but they don't think of him any other way.
They're probably close enough that they probably bust his chops a little bit.
If he went overboard, which is not his personality, they would definitely bust him on it.
You know what? I'll give him credit. Last night he was a business-like young man. I'm walking up to let the dude in that was running late.
Yeah.
He's walking down.
Yeah.
With his significant other of the evening.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
There you go.
Kate. Yeah, she's
and
great.
He straight eyeballs, straight handshake. What's going on? How's it going?
Yeah.
That's the stuff. Like, kudos. Not only
Thank
can he
you.
ball, but he's a good kid.
Yeah, well, that's the most important aspect of it. And, he was with the national team last week. So, they come home from that trip.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next day or so, he leaves. And one of the kids, I think his name's Johnny Shore, from New York, played high school his freshman year. And so they, and all these kids are in the same boat. Like they're all experiencing something. And I heard you say it, and I love saying it too, is the 1% of the 1%.
Right.
These are just completely different kids, and they're so interested in his high school experience. And, he scored like 35 or 40 goals, and, and they're like, oh my gosh, like that must have been amazing. And so when the most important part of what I've learned to understand from Caden's point of view is, like 2 years ago, the baseball team was really good. And there's a kid there, it's a friend of our family, Dominic Vagley, went to KU. He's a great pitcher, great family, baseball family all the way through. And Caden was like, it was amazing. Everybody was cheering for Dom when he was pitching because they went to the state tournament. And so the same thing for the soccer team, like they're cheering for these kids. And in Caden's mind, he's like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Well, it's funny because Caden goes through these experiences in so much that, look, he stepped on the field a number of times with the first team, obviously City 2. There's a lot of people in the stands, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially when he first subs in. A lot of enthusiasm.
Right.
But then there's the reality of these camps or some of these tournaments that they go to with the national team in which you're going to have staff. You're going to have a few locals.
Yeah.
You're going to have maybe a EMT on the side of the, but there's
nothing
there's
else.
nobody there. And these are, some of the best players from these said countries.
Right.
And then he gets to go on the road to Chicago.
Right. And that's the best part of, like, he's in love with that.
And, and his buddies are playing in front of 1,000, 1,500.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But he'll take that, like, he loves seeing his friends compete, and he's their number one cheerleader. Like, he loves watching, like, we're going into basketball. They have a good basketball team, and, their student section will be a lot of fun, and they were really fun for the volleyball team. The volleyball team did really good too. Let
me change names here. I'm gonna get your take. He's becoming a new fan favorite here in St. Louis with City 2. He had a breakout season this year, and he happens to be a kid that crashes on your couch often.
Yeah.
Our buddy, friend of the show, friend of the family, Mykhi.
Yeah.
Mykhi Joyner.
Yeah.
He went on the trip, this most recent trip to the camp with Caden. Talk a little bit about your take on Mykhi's kind of breakout, his season. What did you like about it? What did you see as kind of a pseudo father figure because of the volume of time he's at your house?
Yeah.
But him and Caden being tight. When you watched him play, what did you see that kind of maybe attributed to his breakout in your opinion?
So maybe I'm selfish in saying this, but at one point I said, Mykhi, stop passing the ball backwards. Go forward. Go forward with the momentum and play your game and take your shot, because he has an incredible shot. Mm-hmm. I also think that it just happened to be at the same time that him and I were talking, and he just completely took off. I think it was more about the team. It was a great team this year, and he's such a great and fun kid to have around in our house. Like, our kids really do adore having him around, and he provides a different layer in the complexity of having a family and raising kids. And, in his situation, being from Bloomington and living in a host family, and, and this is so funny because I always go, this is what I said to him one time. I go, and it was when Aaron Hurd was there too. So like,
with the Nords?
At the Nords, so they have Aaron and Mykhi.
The Nord compound.
Yeah, right.
Man.
And I go, don't you ever feel like you just want to fart? But you're not comfortable. Not that the Nords aren't they're doing an excellent job.
They're saints.
But I'm just saying that when you're not in your own turf and you're not at your, it's gotta be difficult. And going back to what you're saying, what I'm most proud of Mykhi this year is doing what he did in the environment of not having home cooking, having his mom around him at all times. That is a unicorn.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's very tough. And that kind of leans in on, the mindset of you have to let your kids fail, and you have to sort of be around them, but not, you don't want to make implications that change the course of their development. You want them to do things that change the course of their development.
Speaking of failure and parental influence, this is a perfect segue because social media, Twitter in particular, in the soccer channels is absolutely exploding right now. Take out the national team game, everything else. The number one trending subject on socials in regards to soccer is primarily on the women's side, transfer portal.
Oh yeah, it's tough.
The number, as of this morning, it was over 900.
It's crazy.
Portal students entering.
It's actually potentially going to ruin the fabric of what college soccer is.
And this is where I wanted to get your take on this, because we've talked about it a little bit in the past, and a lot of people kind of understand the portal from 10,000 foot view. And to a degree, I only understand it from 10,000 foot view. But what I do really understand now is the acceleration of the numbers.
Yeah.
There's a tracking org, SRUSA, that Don Williams and those guys, they have a master spreadsheet.
Oh boy.
Over 25% of all Division I freshmen are entering the portal.
Yeah, and that's because at some point our parents that are in this environment have only allowed their kids to perform in a way that it's set up. It's like, remember in Rocky III when, Mykhi and Rocky and he's like, what are you talking about? And Mykhi goes, they were has-beens, they were set up.
Yeah.
And it's like your whole world crashes, and that's what's happening when these kids enter the portal, because they don't know how to deal. They don't know how to cope with their emotions. So everything is surface level. So like you don't get playing time. I'm going to go leave. Or you play and your team's not that good. I'm going to go leave. I'm going to have my parents take me to the next best club. And, they're going to sell what I can do for that coach. And then I'm going to go there and hopefully we'll be 10-0. And at the, drop of a hat of 9-1, we're going to leave. And all of this activity is, again, it's from the fact of when you go to a restaurant and you look around at young families, what are the parents immediately doing with their kids? They're putting an iPad in front of them, and they're not coping. They're not
disengagement.
They're disengaged with their kid. So then when something happens, they immediately erupt. The kids can't cope with anything. And then, so it's compounding all the way up until you get into college. And how can we expect it to be any different? Until there's some sort of fabric change, you cannot have change. And the thing that I listened to last week before the Tyson fight, Teddy Atlas was one of his trainers.
I remember him.
And he said, in my opinion, Mike Tyson is 0-5.
Yeah, I read that.
And
Where he thought he only had 5 legit fights.
And those were the ones that he lost. And they said, like, after the second round, if he didn't knock you out, he didn't know how to handle the pressure. Because from his childhood trauma, before he turned into a fighter, he would hide in between the drywall spaces in the project housing unit that he lived in.
Yeah.
He hid from all of the bullies.
He was still a natural born killer.
Up until the second round.
Yeah, I mean, that was as a Gen X kid, that was...
There was nothing better than... Did you ever call Sportsline to find out, like, what the... So, like, you wanted to find out if the Steamers won. And you would call the Sportsline, and then, they would go through, like, the Cardinals, say if the Cardinals were playing Steamers, whatever, or Blues. But I used to call and check to see if Tyson won. And it wasn't that I was checking to see if he won necessarily. It was what round.
Yeah, knockout.
That was what was important. So then when he lost to Buster Douglas, I hung up the phone. I couldn't believe it. Like I could
I
not.
remember that fight was in Japan, I believe.
yeah,
I
right.
woke up in the morning and ESPN back in the day, pre-ticker,
Yeah.
it was the only news.
Yeah. It was almost like you died,
Yeah.
which maybe he did die that night.
Yeah,
He was never the same after prison.
I was waiting for Wolf Blitzer to start covering it.
Right. Yeah. But
Hey, back to the portal though. Like my question to you is, just gut instinct. Whose fault is it? Simplistically, well, let me back up. You get to pick one entity: parent, player, school, or NCAA.
parent.
Who fixes this shit?
Parent. Parent is the problem. Parent is the fixer. And I'll tell you why, because I went through this with my oldest daughter at Illinois State. Before she got there, they were really good. They were winning MVC, the whole deal. When she got there, they started losing. They lose every game dramatically. They turned over 2 coaches. The third coach was her senior year. If she would have came back for her 5th year COVID year, she would have had a third coach while there. Massive amounts of transfer portal entries. And you know what? Who did she come to first? Us. And we said, you're staying. You've got to figure this out. This is a part of your process, your journey. This is, okay, you go to anywhere else. What if it happens again?
Yep.
Like you're there to go to school.
Now you know fewer people,
Yeah.
new landscape.
Yeah, and so the problem is her freshman class had like 13 kids. Freshman year they bring in 13 new signs, and when she graduated, I think there was 3 or 4 left
Out of 13?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's I don't know how schools and the NCAA can't see that is just an absolute failure.
it is
because the numbers, it's got to be at least 50 to 60%
has to be.
everywhere.
But who can stop it and who can start it? The parents, because the kids are going to the parents.
Yeah.
They're complaining. Look, my daughter went on like a 6 or 7 game losing streak, and it was awful. And the coach was just not a nice person. And you can't have no talking because you guys lost. It's like, what? Like, this has nothing to do with the game. So, when you go through that and then she's on the phone crying and she's hours away. And as a parent, you're trying to lead.
Yep.
And it's all about well, remember why you're there. You're there for soccer, but you're also there for an education. She graduated in May with a finance degree in 4 years.
Yep.
Going through the percentage of kids that graduated when their freshman year was COVID, lockdown, the whole thing. If you had COVID, you had to go to a special unit, and everybody's wearing masks inside, outside. You couldn't even go to a
everybody's
game.
afraid of getting sued.
Yeah.
So
And
look,
it's the
we don't
state
know
of
what's going to
Illinois.
happen.
And so you were at a soccer game and you're wearing a mask outside. That's the ridiculousness of it, right?
Is it more or less ridiculous than voting for Madison County to secede from the state of Illinois?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, maybe you should do that. I don't know at this point. But here's the thing. So go back to this, though. So you have all of that, right? 4 years of 2 coaches, losing seasons, COVID,
Right.
and you graduate in 4 years.
Yep.
And that has to be a very small percentage of kids. But we were adamant about saying stay the course, because what I wanted her to understand is that you are more powerful than your situation. You've seen the things like boiling water with an egg makes an egg hard.
Right.
Boiling water with a potato makes it soft. So it's not your environment, it's your purpose.
Yep.
So that's what you have to explain to kids. And so it's not the university's fault. It's not the coach's fault. It's, can your kid deal with adversity? Do they have surface level emotions? Are they empathetic? Are all of these things lining up? And look, and we struggled massively every season that it was over. It was having a conversation with her and talking her off of the ledge and backing her up and saying, look, it's next season. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
And it's a grind too, because they own you. They own you when you're in their university in their sports gear.
It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job on top of going to school.
Yep.
And it's difficult.
So outside of here recently, outside of men's puffy vests and bowling water reels,
Yeah. That's a TikTok, by the way. TikTok advice.
TikTok, you're a TikToker now? The other news that's been all over socials is down there in Miami, back to MLS. Tata, he's out.
He's out. Yeah. Which is, it sounded like maybe family, something's going on or personal health, but I'm not connected or like, I don't care if he's in or out.
Yep.
I love the Miami shenanigans. Like, I love that they're great. And I wasn't necessarily a fan of them getting bounced out by Atlanta, but like now that just makes the tournament better and, hopefully more people watch. But with him leaving, I wonder why. Like, what is the real reason? Was it too much of a pressure cooker?
Well,
being next to Messi's imposing. And
yeah, exactly. So is Miami going to turn into one of those situations where almost like a PSG, right?
Maybe
where you stack up all this talent, and every single year, if you do not win Champions League, in the case of PSG, or the MLS Cup in the case of Miami, does it really matter? Because you can't have literally a GOAT lineup,
right?
And then get bounced first round to
unless you were
Atlanta.
Barcelona.
Yeah. So I'm curious what it's going to do to the league because the fluidity of players, right?
Yeah.
And even to a degree, some of the coaches, it's somewhat under control. I mean, nothing's really crazy other than everything that is happening out of Miami.
Yeah. So, but I love what they're doing. I mean, who wouldn't want that type of publicity, and it only makes everything better for the future of MLS. I mean, at the same time, having Miami in the way that they're doing it, it's just going to increase the salaries of all of the players around the league. Totally. And it's going to make it better. And, there's talks of other players joining, and so it'll be great for the future of the league and for the players that are. I always think it's interesting, like in City or City 2 or any of the clubs, and they do like the highlights of these kids that are playing. I mean, they're kids, they're 20s,
right?
And they're playing a sport, and you go, but it's not like baseball players who are making $20 million a year and they're batting 200,
right?
That's what's so crazy about soccer right now.
Or an NFL guaranteed contract.
Yeah, like they're actually more normal and more connected to the fan base than any other sport because they're kind of just like us. I mean, there's not much difference.
Henry Kessler.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
I just, follow him. Sure, he's our new center back, right?
Yeah.
His tweets are like so white bread. And I like it about him. Like today, I think his tweet was, "I want snow," like all of this like little mundane stuff,
right?
Which kind of alludes to the what you're describing.
They're pretty normal
dudes.
Yeah.
Speaking of normal dudes, around the corner on Thursday night, I don't know if you follow. Are you up on college soccer much these days?
Yeah, I'm watching, bro. I watch almost nightly. I watch games.
So you saw the draw.
Yeah.
And you saw that SLU gets UMKC.
Yeah, I think they should win that game.
So UMKC had a higher ranking.
Yeah.
And here apparently, and this game will be Thursday night. Apparently what happened was somebody at UMKC didn't do their due diligence to reserve their facilities for the potentially scheduled first round game.
So
guess who gets first round game? Who's a lower seed?
Yeah. Well, what do they got? Like a turf field that's being shared by the
it must be
track team or something. Like what's going on over there?
So UMKC
KC sucks.
It totally sucks.
Sucks. Like they can't even get their soccer stuff right.
So they beat Denver twice, I guess. I think they did upset Missouri State. So it's not that they're a bad team.
Yeah, they're good.
But they go from playing at home in the first round of the games to now they're going to go to Herman, and there's going to be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like somebody's losing their job.
Yeah.
So Thursday night, I think we're going to go. You should go.
I would love to go.
You got 2 weeks.
I got a lot of those guys that come out too. Like I got the women's and the men's team and the City 2 guys that come out and train. So I see and hear, and that's where, going back to the portal, who doesn't have a lot of transfers? SLU women's.
Well, Katie is an absolute rock star.
Yeah, but that's my point. When you talk to the girls, and I got 8 or 9 of them that come out, not all at the same time, but they rotate through based on their school schedule and game schedule, whatever. But when you talk to these kids, they love the SLU program. They're so proud of it.
Yeah.
So who's running that? The coach.
Yeah.
So if the coach is a bad apple, then it's a bad environment. And then the kids want to leave, and then the parents have to step in and tell them to stay. But if the coach is doing good and has a good personality, and the kids know that the coach cares, going back to the men's national team, do you think that Musa feels like Poch cares about him now?
Guarantee it. I saw it.
You see it. You see the way he even hands the ball to the players when it goes out of bounds. It's like he's giving them a gift.
Yeah.
I watched it. I watched him hand the ball to one of the guys that's throwing it in, and you can tell that he's passionate. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at SLU and you talked, and you've had Katie on and you listen to her, who wouldn't want to play for that? So that's the environment, though.
It's easy to root for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kalish on the same side, on the men's side, same thing. Good dude.
Yeah, you know, kind of looking at the brackets too. I mean, it's there's a lot of quote friends of the show, obviously SLU, Kevin and the crew there, and being a backyard team, love that. Kale across the river, SIUE, doing a great job. They've got big first round. Akron, Granite City boy. Yeah, they're if they win their first round game against Princeton, who they get? Indiana.
Nice. Well, there's another show. Yeah,
so it's fun. For those of you that are listening, hey, this weekend, coming up, your NCAA tournaments are going to be all over ESPN Plus and more. Check it out. Senior Glover. Thanks, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you tapping in. You were like, I'll put that fire out.
That's right. I saw the bat signal. And I responded.
I tossed it up pretty quick. Yeah. You know who else did it the other day was Mr. Donegan.
Oh, that's my dude. I like him.
He came in. I took him to Amsterdam, though. I owe you a Amsterdam episode.
Well, I saw him at Fenton Bar and Grill on Saturday night after SLU beat Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
And so our boy, going out there. So Dan and I were going to meet up, and then he was like, Bobby's playing out there in Liberty, and I was like, oh, geez, I hope Bobby wins. He's one of my guys, too. I love Bobby.
Bobby O?
Yeah.
I saw him last night at the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this weekend, big Missouri high school games. Look, all I care about, to a degree, I know all the coaches. I don't care which one wins as long as it's not a Kansas City coach. So
you got that right. Well, Bobby's got a good shot, and he's got a good team. I love that guy. He's one of those guys. He's been at SLU for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I root for that guy.
Yeah, me too. I'm pulling for SLU in Class 3. I'm going to put it on the record. I want to toss up. I don't care. Go to PKs, Vianney, Ledoux. I hope you too. Haddock, Ehrenberg. You guys fight it out in the final. It's a win-win for me.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Glover, again, thank you for joining, man.
Thank you, sir.
Have you back anytime. And again, I'm not going to say it. No like, review, follow, share. Just tell me. The whole shoe question and all that. TV show. That's what I need. Shoot me a TV show on socials. I need something new to watch. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys next time.